Welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Inside Track with myself, Ryan Charlesworth, and our great guest this morning, Ed Cannan from the Foundry Gyms. How are you doing, Ed?
I'm good, Ryan. How about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Thank you. Even better, as you can see, the sunshine's coming through the
Beautiful
window,
day.
which we don't get that very often in Yorkshire, so it's quite nice to have some this morning. So just for our listeners, Ed, do you want to just give us a run through who you are, what your sort of background is, and what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. So I own the Foundry Gym in Telford. It's part of a franchise. It's a good franchise. It's been going about 5-6 years now.
Okay,
Very
wow.
up and coming, rapidly expanding around the West Midlands currently.
How many clubs they got at the moment?
I think there's 6 at the minute, and there's a couple in the pipeline.
Oh wow! I think is it Birmingham and Leicester coming
That's it.
pretty soon
Yeah, and
this year.
I think there's one in Derby coming as well. There's a lot of irons in the fire. So watch this space. Over the next 12-18 months, there'll be a couple more popping up.
Oh, fantastic! And your background, Ed, you come from a fitness background originally?
Yeah. I was a personal trainer for nearly 10 years.
Wow!
So I've always been around fitness. So I know the game.
And was that as a independent personal trainer,
To be honest, I took the plunge from an early age straight away. As soon as I was qualified, I went self-employed. Didn't want to work for anyone.
I know that feeling. Except it took me 20 years nearly to work out I didn't want to work for someone. So I know that
That's the
feeling.
goal.
And when did you open your club in Telford?
Right. So we actually opened December 2019.
Wow! Just before all the chaos.
Yeah, we were open a whole 3 weeks, then we had to lock down.
Wow! And how did you find? Did you have a good pre-sale? Then get dumped into the lockdown? How was it?
To be honest, Ryan, it couldn't have gone any better. The pre-sales were really, really strong, and everything was looking great. We opened strongly. Was really pleased with how it was going, and then boom, we were obviously hit with the lockdown. That was a bit of a blow, but touch wood. Since then, since we've been back open again, everything's been really good.
So you guys have picked up your membership. Are you back to your sort of pre-pandemic levels, or are you sort of
well? It's hard to tell because we were only open for such a short period of time.
Of course.
It's quite a hard comparison to make, but I like to think that we're doing better. Yeah, definitely. The member numbers are healthy. They've gone past my expectation. In fairness.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
well, you can't ask any more than that. Once you set your business plan out, you set your targets, and once you've achieved them, it's a nice feeling. I've done what must be over 30 pre-sales now with various businesses, and those ones that get there early are the ones that survive and do really well. They prosper. It's the ones that don't hit their numbers and they're not constantly chasing their tail to try
exactly. And there's a lot of work to be done before the opening, isn't there? Marketing is key.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing how many people think, oh well, we'll get the build done, then we'll market, and but if you don't do the marketing while you're building and get that member base strong before you open,
it goes hand in hand.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, you want to be cash. Cash is king in especially a gym business. Because of the constant flow of revenue, members in and out, and so on. So keeping a healthy cash flow is really important. So making sure that, because as you well know, during pre-sale, all you seem to be doing is paying bills. There's nothing actually coming in for you. It's just like, oh, at some point that bank's going to run empty.
Yeah.
So I've seen it so many times. The panic on the face, and suddenly club opens, direct debits start coming in, and
it's a relief, isn't it? As soon as you start seeing that money coming in, it's a relief.
Absolutely. So, do you want to just talk us through what type of club you run? Because obviously,
so I'd say it's a bit of a hybrid. I like to class it as a hybrid. It looks like a bodybuilding gym more so. But we do get a lot of CrossFitters in there. We get quite a few functional. A hell of a lot of boxing coaches are coming in there now because we've got a good boxing area. So it's a real mishmash. That's what I wanted. I wanted all walks of life coming in the gym. I didn't just want big bodybuilders and that was it. We've got 75-year-old women that come in and they're not intimidated. So that to me is fantastic. That's what I want.
I think sometimes that you're doing things right when when you're getting the older population, that grey market, because
Yeah,
they're the ones that are, one, harder to get hold of, but also secondly they're quite easy to intimidate, in the sense if you walk
exactly,
in, you've got your big
exactly.
lads there. But when you've got people training at that age and enjoying it, it's a really good sign that you've got a healthy community.
Yeah, and we've all been there, haven't we? We've walked into these gyms and they can be intimidating. So I've worked really hard to try and make it a nice, safe place for everyone.
And do you
And so
guys?
far,
Well, it sounds like you got it right. But do you guys, as a franchise, because obviously it is a franchise, do you guys get quite a lot of freedom as to how you run your businesses?
yeah, we do actually. The franchise owners, they're brilliant. They do kind of, obviously they helped us set up,
Yeah,
um, but I think now that they've got some trust in us, then we know what we're doing clearly because it's working. So they can see that. So there is a lot of freedom, which is brilliant. It's great. They give you the reins, and as long as we kind of know what to do and what not to do. You know,
yeah, yeah.
as long as you don't step out of line or do something completely that's against the franchise, it's fine. It's brilliant. It works really well.
And any reason why you chose to go as a sort of new business owner, why you chose to go franchising rather than setting up on your own
Yeah.
with
So
your own brand?
to be honest, Ryan, the way it started, it was quite funny. I wasn't actually thinking about starting a gym.
Oh,
Um,
okay,
it all came from the best place in the world, the pub. We were out having a few drinks, and I was introduced to one of the owners of the franchise.
right.
Um, and me being me, I was picking his brains all night. That's all I talk about, the gym and fitness. And it was just a really interesting conversation. And I walked away from that thinking, do you know what? Maybe I can do this.
Yeah,
And put a hell of a lot of research into it. Spent a good 12 months looking into it, exploring different franchises. Looked at some more commercial ones as well. Um, and I just felt like it was perfect. This whole setup was perfect for me. It was perfect because I knew what their gyms were like because I trained in them before. Um, so I agree with their principles, whereas some gyms I don't really enjoy
it's
training in them.
difficult.
So
Yeah, difficult, isn't it? Sometimes.
yeah, so I looked into some major corporate companies. I don't know if I can name names on here or
You
not,
can,
but
name whoever you like.
yeah, so we had a few meetings with uh oh God, what Anytime Fitness,
Yeah,
looked into them. There was a few more kind of class-based ones like F45 and things like that. But it's not it's not really my passion to be honest with you. And I didn't. It was too plastic, too corporate for me. I
I
like
think the challenge
more where you
is.
can.
I'll go on it. Sorry.
Sorry, carry on, Ryan.
I was going to say the challenge is, if you're going to do something like this, you're committing 100% to it. You're committing
Exactly.
your money, you're committing your life, you're committing everything that you are doing. You know what I mean. You're committing to this. People think of franchise. The amount of people we used to meet. I've worked for Anytime. I've worked fitness space. I've done some work with Jets, and so you see these different franchise models, and sometimes you'll speak to the owners and they could have had a complete, not from the fitness industry, might have had I don't know, pizza business or set of car garages, whatever they are, and they come into the industry thinking they can sit back and the business will run itself.
Mm,
Well, unfortunately, as you well know, over the last couple of years,
mm.
running a gym, running a fitness business, I ran my own for 3 or 4 years. They don't just run themselves. You don't just put a manager in and allow that to happen. And so having the
Absolutely.
right franchise is vital. And I think you've done the right thing in terms of your research.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you say, your passion shines through, and the members appreciate it because if I wasn't passionate, I wouldn't be looking where I could improve every day. Every day, I'm thinking, right, what can I make better? What's not doing so well? What machine could be used here and there? And the passion, to be honest, has probably made it succeed because I've put a hell of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. And it is my baby. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. I bet you're working 6 in the morning till 9 at night still, trying to push it through. In terms of your model, do you have many staff in your club, or is it pretty much yourself
Yeah,
and
we've
freelance?
got a really nice model actually. We've got a mixture of staff. So we've got some older staff that are more experienced, and then we did hire a couple of apprentices as well.
Did you do that through the Kickstart scheme?
No, this was just through a local apprenticeship firm that the
Oh wow.
franchise use. Yeah, Juniper, they're really, really good, top guys, and they've helped us a lot. And the guys that they've sent our way, they've been fantastic. The young guys, they're 17, 18 years old, and they've got stuck in, and we've
Yeah.
molded them into really great colleagues.
I know the guys at Code. I don't know if you've seen any of their stuff on social media. They do brilliantly in the same way that you've done. They bring them through as apprentices. They've trained them up and got them where they want to be. They've moved them into personal trainers, and I think they've got about 16 trainers at their club now. And it's just great to see how well they're doing.
It is. It's nice actually. It's good to support the youth as well, because a lot of them, it's a tough age. They're lost. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know where to go, and to see the difference within 12 months.
Oh,
It does make you smile, makes you feel good. It's a nice feeling.
And the thing is as well, when you get them young like that, I mean, my lad's 16 at the minute, nearly 17, so he's sort of in that position. But they change so much. It's a bit like the 0 to 5-year-olds. You know what I mean? You see so much growth in them. That sort of 15 to 18 age group, they change so much and develop, because they're developing into young adults. So to have them as part of your team and being able to mold them and take them and set their work ethics, I can imagine.
I'd say that's the key word: development. That they've learned very quickly, because they're at that age, aren't they? Yeah. Where they are fast learners, and they're good. They're enthusiastic. They work hard.
So in terms of you guys opened up just before just before the pandemic, you did all that. Do you think, what would you say is your biggest learning's been over the last, 12, 18 months? Because you've had a huge learning curve. So not only have you taken it on and opened a club, so you've had all that, you've obviously then had the pandemic, which the rest of us have had to learn. None of us were ready for that. I've been in the industry 25 years and I wasn't ready for that. So what would you say is your biggest learnings over the last sort of 12, 18 months?
Well, I mean, it's been a real roller coaster ride the whole time. I would just say to anyone that's thinking of doing it, because this is what I've taken out of it, is like we just touched on. If you're not 100% into it, you won't put all the work in. And if I wasn't 100% focused on this, it would have been easier to just give up at some points, because it was difficult. And there, at some points with COVID and the lockdown, you didn't really see a light at the end of the tunnel. But you just need to dig your heels in and crack on. And it's taught me resilience, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And since the club's been open as well, I've obviously learned a lot in terms of what the customers want and how customers react to certain things and what's important to them, what's less important. The whole thing's been a good learning process.
And do you think coming from a personal training background gave you the skill set to then jump as a manager, or do you think you potentially should have maybe had a bit more management experience before? I'm not saying you don't have management, but do you know what I mean? Run a club before doing it, or do you think you were quite well set up from the fact that you'd had a lot of experience?
Well, I think the PT background has definitely helped. Yeah, 100%. Because you feel more confident in terms of how equipment works, the basic stuff. You can teach your members more, you can engage with them more. And it's the small differences, small details like that, and they do really appreciate it. If you see someone struggling on something, you can go over and give them a hand. And you get more of a community feel, especially when you can talk to people that are going through bodybuilding competitions and stuff, and you can engage in conversation. So I think having that knowledge does help massively. Like you just said, if you've got a background of having a petrol station or something, it's not quite the same. You want to connect on the certain levels with people. And being a PT for nearly 10 years has definitely helped 100%. And also because I was in gyms for so long, you kind of pick up on, oh, right, if I had my own gym, that's how I'd do that. I wouldn't do that. Yeah. You take bits from certain owners, don't you? Previous gym owners.
Oh, absolutely. I don't always think you need to have managed a club to own one, certainly. And I think having the fitness background is definitely a massive key, especially where the industry is going now. I think we took a bit of a slide and started moving towards the sort of rent a treadmill model, the sort of cheap, just turn in, churn the members round. And I think the one thing COVID has done, it started pushing people back to this service orientated model. So where they want the support, they want the guidance. And I think if you've got that background as a PT, that allows you to adapt a lot quicker, to look at the member journey, to sort of go, okay, what do the clients need? As a PT, this is what I would deliver. And I think that makes a big difference as a club owner.
I think there's a big place for independent gyms and having that personal touch, because, you know, I had to train at the gym group for a while just because it was around the corner from where I used to live. And I just used to hate going there because there was no engagement with anyone that worked there. It was soulless. There was no atmosphere. I like to go somewhere and I like to have a bit of a chat, and even just saying hello to someone, you know, and a lot of people are the same.
My son hates going training with me because I will go in the gym and I will talk to the staff. I will talk to other members. You can imagine after 25 years, I'm so used to being in that enviment that I'll just talk to anyone. And my son, he just puts his head down. He's like, "Oh, Dad, will you?" Just go train on your own. But I think you're right. I think when I go to a club, I mean, I train at the local leisure centre. I don't train at a big club. I mean, there's not really an independent one around me that suits. And so I train at the leisure centre, and I think that's brilliant because I go in, I have a chat with the staff. It's friendly, and I'm able to engage with people. I couldn't go to a gym, and I'm the same as you. I'm not the biggest fan of the bigger. The big box clubs, but that's a personal preference. But I do think a lot of them are quite soulless. Like you say, you go in, the staff really are there as freelance personal trainers, so they're there to make money, which is fine. But I don't think they offer the same as what you guys can offer as independent clubs, and that's predominantly why I work with Rob at Independent Gyms UK, but also with most of my clients are independent clubs, because that's. I think you can do more with an independent club as well. You can make decisions quickly. You can react a lot quicker, and you can give the members what they want. So yeah, I mean, working on culture, working on client journeys, stuff like that is what I enjoy most. And do you guys find it from a marketing side? Do you guys find it easier as an independent club? I mean, obviously you've got the franchise behind you, but have you found that process easy to grasp and work with?
Well, it's completely different. Don't get me wrong. If you were in a huge, big corporate company, right, you would have all the marketing tools easily accessible. It'll be laid out for you. It'd be dead easy, wouldn't it? So it's more of a challenge having to do it by yourself. But at the same time, it's quite fun to think of new ways to market it. And you don't need to. We don't do that much marketing. We use social media. That is our main marketing tool. You'd be a fool not to take advantage of it because A, it's free, and B, the reach is unbelievable. So
absolutely,
that was one of my number one goals before we set up the gym. I put a lot of work into the Instagram and getting the name out there. I've done quite a lot of posts. Look, I'm no professional. At the start, I had no idea what I was doing, but it's a learning curve. I watched a lot of tutorials. I looked at other gyms, see what they were doing.
It's a minefield, though, with social media. I think even when I mean, I know quite a few of the guys who do the paid ads for clubs, and even they say it changes that frequently in terms of the algorithms and stuff like that. You've really got to be all over it. And I think if your organic posting is working, then fantastic, because that saves a fortune. Because it can be really costly. You can waste a lot of money on social if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, luckily my partner, she's in marketing, so she does help me out a little bit. Yeah, it's quite handy. But in fairness, she doesn't help. She doesn't get involved that much. I just go. It's the passion. I'll get passionate about a new product. Right, we've got new protein bars coming in, so I get more excited than anyone does. So that excitement comes through. I do a nice little post about it. You need to want to do it. It can't just be a task like, oh, I've got to post about this. You got to get excited about it, because if you're not excited, because you can't expect your customers to be excited.
No, exactly. And do you find the protein sales and that sort of additional revenue is good for you guys at your club?
Absolutely, yeah. It's all a bonus to me. That is all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the supplements. We don't earn fortunes from it, but we earn good amounts, and you'd be silly not to do it, you know.
I think it sometimes depends on the club. It's with my experience, clubs like yours, where you've got that bodybuilding element of it, and the relatively hardcore training as well as the normal trainers, it tends to work. In clubs where it tends to be like say a leisure centre or that sort of lifestyle type club, don't tend to do as well out of it. It's quite strange. I used to work for Marriott. We sold nothing. Because we had a pool, we sold millions of swim nappies. You know what I mean? So that sort of side of it worked.
It's all relevant, isn't it?
Yeah, the nutrition stuff didn't, but you have to take advantage, don't you? You have to look at what works for you guys as a club and add those in.
One piece of advice I would give to anyone that wants to start a gym is invest in vending machines, because they are a gold mine. That's one thing I've learned. People love buying energy drinks. they're our best selling products.
Water used to be our...
Yep, water.
You can have as many drinks fountains as you want around the club. They will still pay £1 for a bottle of water.
Absolutely.
25p.
Yeah.
It's
easy money.
You daft not to, and I can understand why as well. It's people forget their bottles and so on, but it is, you can easily make £300, £400, £500 a month on water alone, and it's any club that's not doing that is daft. And I think all these little things help to add up to the bigger picture, don't they? So
absolutely.
And in terms of other revenue sources, what would you say drives? Obviously, I assume you got your membership base, and then anything else that particularly drives your club.
We've got a really generous personal training model, so we don't actually charge rent to the self-employed PTs. Yeah, which may sound crazy to some people, but we like to think that it actually brings in more custom long term.
Okay.
So all we ask is dead simple, that the PT is a member themselves, and any client that they bring either pays for the day pass or they sign up themselves. So, they're bringing all these clients, and 99% of the time they'll pay for a day pass the first time and they all end up signing up. So, you do get a couple of hundred extra members just from that.
I've seen the model,
which does work out to a nice figure.
Yeah. It's one of those brave moves, isn't it? That you sort of go, this isn't the standard convention as to what the industry does. I've always been a big believer in splits, revenue splits. I've never done your model personally, but I was instead of the rent, I always found rent models crucified the PT, and usually early doors. So you get a PT come in, and suddenly you're charging them £100 a week, £150 a week, and they haven't got the clients to pay for that. So within 6 months, they're
exactly.
bust. And then they're disheartened and they leave the industry.
I don't agree with it. I think it's quite unfair. But that's my PT background coming through. I'm probably a little bit biased because I've seen clubs charging £500 a month rent, and for a new PT who's just starting out, it's not feasible. Can't do it.
That's why I always think the revenue share model works. Because if you and yours work as well, because it's effectively a revenue share because you're driving new members in. But the idea is the more successful that PT is, the more money the club makes. So you're not capping yourself. I understand why they do a rent, because it secures a set amount of revenue.
Secure money every month, isn't it? Yeah.
PTs paying £500, you got £3,000 a month, it's guaranteed. The challenge is you have 5 really successful PTs, and you've now capped yourself at £3,000 where you could have been making 10. And that's my argument. And also what it does is by having a revenue split, you put both parties in control of the success. So as a club owner, I want you to be successful as a PT because I want more revenue from you. As a PT, you want to be more successful because you want to earn more money. You earning more money, paying me more rent, it all adds up. And the same for your model. The more successful that PT is for you, the more members you get. So you're going to push their PT. Yep. You're going to keep driving that for them, and between the two of you, you make it very successful, and everybody's a winner. And I'm a real big believer. I don't know if you ever read or done the training for the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you haven't, it's well worth a read of the book. We did a sort of 4-day training course with Marriott with it, and one of the big things in there is win-win. In every scenario, you should always look for a win-win. Whereas what we do as a society generally is someone's always got to lose out on the deal. Yeah. So I've got a deal here. Someone wins, someone loses. But if it's always a win-win, everyone benefits. The motivation to be more successful continues, and that's how I try and work all the time. Because I just think if everybody's a win-win, everybody makes money, don't they? In the end of the day,
Well,
so
the PTs love it because it is a very good deal. So you've got a lot of happy personal trainers in the gym, which looks good. And if they're happy, they're going to want to bring more clients to our gym rather than other gyms. Because there might well be other gyms that do a similar system around to us, but I wouldn't know it because they all bring their clients in our gym. So it's something is working.
Absolutely. And how many PTs you got there currently, just out of interest?
To be honest, it's really hard to tell because some of them go under the radar. You wouldn't even know they're in there. They're so quiet. I reckon there's probably around 20 in there.
Wow.
I would say a rough number.
And what size is the club, square footage?
12 and a half.
Oh, wow. So it's a good sized club.
It's good. It's two stories. We actually want to extend it at some point as well.
Have you got the room to do that?
Yes, yeah, we have. Yeah, we got a mezzanine, and we might make the mezzanine a bit bigger, but we'll see. We'll see.
Drive the members in, give you the money, then extend it to 10
capacity. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I got big plans, but sometimes I need to be grounded a little bit.
No, that's fair enough. You got any plans to take on a second franchise? Is that in the offing?
Well, because it's only been a year really. I would like to do another one. It's just a matter of when. I don't want to open another gym until I'm completely satisfied that where this one is in a perfect place to leave. Because obviously, if I open another one, a lot of your attention would go into that gym. Yeah. So I've just got to make sure that this one is where I want it to be first. But I think in the next 2 years, I think I'll look at doing another one.
You just have to be careful with the cash drain as well, because obviously the cash from the club will be paying for the new one. So what you don't want to do is drag the money out of that and put the first one at risk to drive the second one.
It's that, and obviously you know how much work goes into it. It takes over your life. It's a lot of work, albeit it all pays off, but it is hard work, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I say, I had my own for 3 or 4 years, and 4 years. But yeah, so it does take over your life. So yeah. So in terms of the sort of challenges that you faced over the last year, what would you say is your biggest challenge been that you've managed to overcome?
Being closed. That's the biggest one. I mean,
did you find that hard then, just in terms of one, for you mentally being shut and sort of going, well, what do we do? Or was it more in terms of, okay, what do we do now to engage the members while we are shut?
Well, it was more for me. I'm an overthinker. So during that lockdown, I was just, sometimes my mind goes off and think, oh, what if the members don't come back after? Or what if this happens?
You weren't alone there.
To be honest, there's no need for that. That's ridiculous, because it's fine and it will be fine. These people aren't going to go anywhere. For me, it was the boredom. I love being busy, and I love being around people. I love being in the gym. Being in my gym makes me happy because I love to see people enjoying themselves in there. It's what you get into it for, really. Well, what I did. So that was a big challenge, because it kind of feels like, oh, I've put all this hard work into getting this gym ready, and now people can't even use it.
Yeah, now I've got this beautiful empty gym just sat there waiting.
Yeah, it was horrible to see, because it was just gathering dust, and it was brand new and shiny, and everyone should be in there enjoying it.
And did you guys
as well?
Well, yeah, clearly that's
but in fairness, we'll probably discuss it shortly, but I think the government were okay. I think the industry was looked after to a reasonable degree. Probably could have been better, a lot of people would argue, but it could have been a lot worse as well.
I think brick and mortar clubs got support. I think that was the thing with the grants and stuff like that. I mean, the smaller clubs, it did benefit massively. I know my brother did. I wouldn't say well, he had a good landlord as well. Between the grants and the landlord, it's helped his business massively. So he hasn't come out of it really badly. So yeah, I think you're right in that sense. But I think for me, and you'll probably, and you can let me know what you think. I just think the government still sees us a little bit as a second-rate business in a sense. We're not one to protect, whereas the impact we can have on people's lives is far greater than they will ever give us credit for.
Exactly. That's probably because most blokes in government are middle-aged, overweight blokes who don't go to the gym, aren't into their fitness, so they don't really get it, do they?
They don't, and the challenge is, it's like I was saying to someone the other day, it's something like one out of every £5 spent on the NHS is spent on diabetes. So
Exactly.
If you work that out, and I think the stat is 80% of diabetes is type 2, which is obviously weight related. It's a sedentary disease, and so when you think about that, 80% of that one in five is directly related to people being overweight and having poor diets and poor lifestyle.
Exactly. And we've got this culture where we're great at reacting once there's a problem, but we're awful at preventing.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere something needs to change in terms of that, like the campaigns that they need to start doing and pushing more fitness and gyms. And yeah, I know what you mean. We do get overshadowed, I think, as an industry, which is, to me, it's bizarre. It's crazy because it is a huge industry and it's growing every year. And it is massively important to people. This day and age, there's so many mental health challenges for people. And I know a lot of that is down to social media and stuff like that. It's hard. I don't envy these young kids. I think they've got it tough. But exercise it's the best drug for it. We've all been there when we've had dark times and stuff. What do? We go to the gym. Makes you feel 100% so much better.
Absolutely.
Big believer in that.
I know they are doing a trial, aren't they, in Hull at the minute, because it's I think because of their population size and so on. They effectively they're giving like smart watches out and start to track and reward a bit like Vitality does with their rewards program.
Yeah, I like that. I do like the Vitality scheme. I think it's good.
Yeah, Vitality is really good. I mean, I do a lot of work with them, but the government is trying to do a similar idea. So they're basically giving out I don't know whichever smartwatch they're using, but they're giving them out, they're tracking, and then depending on people's activity levels, they're getting rewarded with discounts at local shops and so on. So I think they're basically taking that Vitality model and gone, well, okay, let's see if we can work it in a population and see. So that trial's going on at the minute. So maybe they are listening a little bit. I don't think they're particularly rewarding gyms, though. I don't think they're putting any money behind us as clubs or us as an industry.
No, they're thinking more the NHS, aren't they?
Absolutely. But I think the challenge is, and this always happens in politics, most governments only last 5 years, 10 at most. And so if you start pumping billions and billions and billions into something that your next or your opposition party will reap the benefits, why are you going to do it? And that's the way I see it all the time.
Yeah, I think you bang on there.
Such a short-term view, whereas they should be looking at us as a population, not their political careers later on. Which, but there you go. That's the legacy.
Another story, isn't it?
I think that will be a conversation long past mine and yours retirement. I think that's long into the future. So
I was hoping to retire next week.
So was I, but it's we're still a long way off that. I need a few more clients before that happens. That or the lottery. So in terms of obviously you opened your club in the pandemic. In terms of advice that you might you might give a new club owner, because you've pretty much seen it all from being a PT to a new club owner and the excitement to shutting down for a pandemic to reopening and driving success. If someone's watching this and going, "Oh, I really like the idea of what Ed's done," what, I don't know, 2 or 3 bits of advice would you say? Definitely do this if you're going to do it.
Definitely market the hell out of it. Even before opening the gym, you got a plan. I wrote a plan. I sat down and wrote a plan of what I was going to do and how I was going to market it. That is key. And I think it's that old phrase, isn't it? Fail to prepare to fail. So I would just plug your social media. It's the best advertising. I did one leaflet drop and I thought, this is useless. There's no point. Why am I wasting hours handing out leaflets when I can do one post and it can reach 5,000 people instantly?
Absolutely.
So
just out of quick interest, just while we're on the marketing side, did you guys do much outreach in terms of getting on the streets of Telford, or was it pretty much social media?
I did it once. I went out once. I went and stood outside an Asda. and we handed flyers out. And the thing is, there's no way of telling really if it works unless you've got some sort of unique code on the leaflets. But I just thought this is not worth it. It's not worth my time. I could be spending my time doing something much more proactive and rewarding.
10 years ago, well, 10 years ago, it used to be, instead of just flying, it used to be names and numbers. And it's so much more difficult now to try and encourage someone on the street to give you a name and number to
inquire. Yeah. Well, it's because there's all sorts of people now, isn't there, approaching you. And to be honest, I get annoyed if someone approaches me now on the street. So I can see why it's not as effective. Yeah. I just think, like I said, it's how you use your time. And social media is such a great tool. It really is. You can do all these brilliant new videos now. There's all these editing apps. So we're all over that. And we've got a good manager. We hired a good manager. No, do you know what? I think I'm a bit old for that. That's one thing I've not got into. I'm strictly Instagram is the one for me, really. I do a little bit of Facebook, but I plug Instagram. I tried TikTok and I thought, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I've got friends who are trying it now. It's an interesting concept. I haven't quite bought into it myself. I prefer the longer version, a bit of LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, Instagram. I haven't quite bought into the TikTok yet, but apparently it's huge and it's definitely something.
I'm sure it is.
Definitely something. What you need the young PTs for TikTok. You need those young 17 and 18-year-olds that you're mentoring through, because they'll be all over it. That's the way to do it. Rather than us old boys.
They're all over, and they're still all over Snapchat. Yeah, well, I haven't used Snapchat in 10 years. So the generation gap is quite alarming when you speak to these kids.
Oh, it is,
but yeah, no, that's the biggest piece of advice. I would make use of any free tool, because you can spend a fortune on marketing, but you really don't need to. I don't think so, anyway. And also, just there's going to be tough times. Obviously, like we've been through it all. We've been through the ringer with the whole COVID situation, but you've just got to be positive, and you will come out of it as long as you're passionate about it. I'm pretty sure anyone that's got the passion will succeed, unless you've got real bad luck.
Yeah, it's. I think those people who really make a fist of it are the passionate ones.
Yeah, you've got to be prepared. You've got to do your research. I've travelled around. I still do it now. I go and travel around clubs, other gyms, independent gyms, just to check what they've got that we haven't got, what's working for them. And I get so many ideas. I'm a bit naughty. I go in there and I take some videos and some pictures, but it's brilliant because that's where I get a lot of my ideas from, my inspiration. You've got to do your market research.
Absolutely. And do you find the independent gyms site worthwhile? Do you spend much time on that?
Yeah, I do. I actually spend quite a lot of time on that page and a lot of Facebook pages. I'm addicted. I'm constantly, every day I probably check Facebook 4 or 5 times just for I like to see the articles, I like to see people's comments, I like to see what the topics are, and also I'm always looking at what's for sale.
There's some good stuff on there in terms of equipment.
You get some good. That's another piece of advice I would give. Yep, you can always get a good second-hand product. That's another good piece of advice. You don't always have to go new.
I was having a conversation yesterday, funnily enough, with someone, and all about what drives people into a club, and it's not the equipment. You can. I've seen some amazing clubs with the top range Technic gym and everything else, and the clubs don't sell. Yet you go into another club which is pretty much, I don't know, 10, 15 years old kit, clearly looks old kit, and yet they are thriving. It's not the kit that sells a club. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a lovely kitted out brand new club with all your swanky equipment, but that will not sustain you. It's all about the culture of the club. It's all about the driving the members' engagement and getting the members' results. It really doesn't matter what your kit is.
That's another way that it comes back to the discussion we were talking about earlier, as in it helps having the background, because you've kind of got to be smart about it. You don't want to put all chest machines in there and you got 1 or 2 back machines. You've got to be smart about it. So I'm constantly looking at what are we light on. Oh, we've only got one calf raise. You need more than one calf raise. Get another one. Where are we light? You've got to take people's comments. I'm always asking, like, where do you think we can improve? What are we missing? And 9 times out of 10, they're dead honest with you because they're paying for the gym, so they'll be honest. And you just listen to your members.
Absolutely. I think if you can have that honest approach with members as well, it becomes the norm. When you're doing a survey once a year to see what they like, you end up getting some ridiculous comments back. It sets an expectation that you're going to fully understand or take on board, and suddenly they're going to get all this kit. Where if you've got this constant communication with the members in terms of the feedback, a nice little feedback loop, they understand that they can suggest, but they're not always going to get. But also when they do suggest sometimes, and just creates this real nice thing where they're quite happy to come up to you and go, what about? I've been trying to do this. Yeah, okay, I'm willing to invest in that because more members. But if you do it once a year, I've seen so many clubs where they send out a survey once a year. And I mean, we used to do it for Marriott once a year. We used to do this survey, and some of the ridiculous. Can we have an outdoor pool? Can we have? Are you going? That's not even logical. It's not. It's never going to happen. So why suggest? But it's because we only had this once in a blue moon event where they got to spurt out all their ideas. Where if you've got a constant loop, you get them through. You understand what the members want. You're able to adapt as you go, rather than
exactly. And they appreciate you trying and putting the effort in with them. They do. And
that then
some of the requests, like you say, are going to be unrealistic. I've had some really unrealistic requests, but as long as you talk to them, they soon understand. Oh, okay, fair enough. I can see where you're coming from. Exactly. But with a survey once a year, I wouldn't even bother doing that. That's pathetic. I'd be more offended if I was a member.
Yeah, it's. Those are the things you used to do in the early noughties, I'm afraid, Ed. But it's not. that was quite an industry norm at the time. So, in terms of looking forward to 2022, are you excited, apprehensive? What's your thoughts?
Oh, I'm really excited because it's going to be our first. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, our first full year of being open. It's been a great start already. I know it's only the start of January, but it's picking up every week. And I think we're going to go from strength to strength. And I'm just looking forward to improving the gym even more. I'm so passionate about it. I've already got ideas of where I want to improve. And yeah, I think we're going to have a really good year. I think the whole industry is going to have a great year.
I think they will. I think it's. I don't think we're going to get locked down. I think Boris has played a political blinder. If I'm honest, I'm not a big fan of Boris, but I think he's watched everyone shut down and then gone, do you know what? I'm going to stay open and I'm going to look amazing. I'm going to stay in my career. So I think that's what he's done there. But that's great for us because it just means we
absolutely.
I mean, it's the first proper January in nearly 2 years. Obviously we lost last year. The year before, let's be honest, COVID was already starting to be rampant and people were getting nervous. Before the lockdown, it was already starting to have an impact. So I think this is our first proper January in 2 years. So I'm really excited for it, and I think clubs should be, and they should throw everything behind it.
Look, and we've all got to remember, everyone that owns a gym or works in a gym, there's still a lot of people out there that aren't confident in going to gyms yet because of the whole COVID situation. And in time, every month, that will grow more and more.
Yeah, exactly. And we just got to get the message out. We've got to get the message out, not that we're safe, but that you need, come to a gym, come and train at a club. You don't need to be doing it at home anymore. People are bored of home training. You can see that with Peloton shares plummeting. People don't want to train at home. They want to get out. Like you say, they want to be part of a community. So we just got to get that message out that come and join part of the community, achieve your results, get fit and healthy again. And as long as we can push that message, I think we'll be well on our way. So one last question before I let you go, Ed, is, and I like to ask this to all my people, is who motivates you the most? Who's your biggest inspiration? Whether it be a celebrity, the only person you can't say is your parents, because that's a given. But who else out there makes you go, yes?
Oh, blood. This is a really random answer, but Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Oh yeah, I can get that.
I mean, I'm wearing his gear right now. I love inspirational people that work their asses off and I look up to them. I mean, he's just an example. Arnold Schwarzenegger as well, someone like that. I see these
But you
people
look
and
at
I
the
think,
Rock story; it's amazing.
oh, what a bloke! And he works harder every year. It just doesn't stop, and I think that's really good. It's really positive, and it's a great role model to have someone like that, because he could have just retired years ago. You know, he's made his money, but he still wants to work and keep himself busy and be more and more successful and keep growing. And I think that's admirable, because it
But
would
you
have been
know
so
what? The
easy to
great,
start him.
oh, absolutely, but the great thing about him is accessible. So
Yeah,
if you watch how he is, I don't think what you see on screen when they interview him is bullshit. I think what you see on screen is
genuine.
Dwayne Johnson. He's a
Yeah,
genuine. He seems a really nice bloke. He's down to earth. He's just incredibly good at what he does. Works incredibly hard, and he's obviously
exactly.
incredibly successful. So yeah, not a bad not a bad role model at all.
And he was a wrestler. I used to be a huge WWE fan when I was a kid,
I did.
and I used to love him.
I loved it until I was told it was like Santa Claus. It wasn't real, and then
Yeah. I gave up when I was about 12, I think.
we went and watched it. I came back from South Africa. I grew up in South Africa, and when we came to England, we went and watched them. They came over, and we went to Birmingham to watch them. And on the telly, it looks more real than it does live. When you watch it live,
Yeah.
it literally does look fake. But it's a great
does.
spectacle. It's an incredible. It was a good night out.
And they're unbelievable athletes as well, aren't they? In fairness.
Oh, you cannot fault. I mean, you look at their physiques. I mean, you look at Hulk Hogan lifting Andre the Giant, who was what, 300 odd pound or whatever he was, and he was lifting him above his head like a. You just you don't do that if you're not an athlete. So yeah, they are incredible athletes.
Well, I think what growing up on that kind of thing is one of the reasons why we're here. I think, you know, certainly for me, I used to look up to these guys. I used to think, wow, look at the physiques, incredible. You know, some of them are not exactly healthy, but just looking at them definitely gave you motivation as a kid.
Oh, absolutely. And I think even more so now with the kids. I mean, you look at my son's generation, 16, 17-year-olds, and they looking good is really important. That vanity strain is really right. And probably because of Instagram and Facebook and everything else, social media. But yeah, looking good, feeling great is really important to the younger generation. So I think positives going forward for the future as well. So but yeah, really appreciate you coming on this morning, Ed. I appreciate you taking your time out. So appreciate that. We'll get this out, and hopefully our viewers will enjoy it.
Spot on. Cheers, right?
Cheers.
You take care,
Thanks
mate.
very much.
Nice
Take care.